Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Myers-Barber, and we are going to be going over some very hot things that are breaking right now. Number one, we have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who just announced her resignation, and we're going to be talking about some other things. So, thank you for tuning in. I will be right back.
Reporting from the belly of the beast, this is Crystal Myers-Barber.
And I always say that because we are in such a spiritual battle here, not only in our nation, but just everywhere. And there's certain areas that just are more the beast. And I'm watching the beast system form like crazy. And we know the battle. I've been really studying in Genesis about the heavenlies and the battle that we are engaged in, and it is just really enlightening. I would love to do a video on that, talking about the firmament and the battle. But it does manifest. It comes down in a political nature, like what we're seeing here. With the fight, the attention grab. The political fireworks that are going on. And, the one hand, and I'm going to show this, we have President Trump meeting with a communist and he's smiling and taking pictures, which is, I don't like, how do I feel about this? And then we have, is MTG, she's like trying to gain all this attention and blah, blah, blah. I mean, so it's really something. So Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia announced today that she's going to resign from Congress. And I'm not making fun of her accent. I actually lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I love the accent. But she really plays on that. And another thing I want to throw in is we need Christians in the, political environment as well, but we don't need fake people. We don't need people using Jesus and wearing a cross and saying one thing and doing another. So that's a really big thing that I'm, the fruit of the person. So maybe it's best that she moves along here, but she's going to be out January the 5th, 2026. Now, last time I did a video, President Trump was already saying she was catering to the other side. They get into a really big war, I guess, and Laura Loomer says that President Trump borrowed the name that she gave MTG, and that was Marjorie Traitor. And then he put Brown in there. And then it looks like everything just went down the tubes. She went to The View. I don't know. But she has posted a video. I'm going to show it. It is 10 minutes long. She said in the video that she's disillusioned with Washington, calling it hostile, and saying she's always been despised in Washington, D.C., and she never fit in. Her falling out with Donald Trump, that is President Donald Trump, once her staunchest ally, she always said that they were tight, played a big role. I would basically say he took her down. I mean, I can't think of, this is it. But according to her, she criticized him on Epstein files, foreign policy, and healthcare. Trump, responded, as I just told you, by calling her wacky, and that she's backing a challenger and a traitor. The reason I wanted to go into this, because I was kind of trying to ignore, I was really ignoring all this, didn't want to really report on it, but now that she's done this, she's forcing a special election, and this is going to happen and take place in Georgia. Georgia's heavily Republican 14th district. And so the governor there has to call that within 10 days. And so this is going to leave a seat open, but it's very likely that it's going to stay Republican. So this is something that is kind of big. And also, she's been a very big MAGA firebrand. And it does appear to me that it looks like she's turned her back on that. So a lot of people are wondering, where her next move is going to be. But just in case you haven't seen a video, I'm going to play it for you now. I don't know what's, side you're on with her. I will tell you, I liked when she was fighting against the vaccine situation back in 2021, and she did propose a bill to Congress that would end the weather manipulation or warfare. I mean, she sort of got on board with some topics that I really liked that she defended. And so, although I was making fun of her in the beginning, I see, some drama going on that I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I don't know how to feel about this. On the one hand, I liked her a lot on that, but there's some other stuff that was kind of weird. Let's just see what she has to say here at the holiday season, right? Days before Thanksgiving, and she's pulling out and telling everybody how she feels about it.
I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas, just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media, obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house.
Anyway, I'm just, I know I'd like to play the rest of this, but she goes on to say that she spent millions of dollars campaigning for Trump. I'm going to put, just so you know, I'm going to put this on my, let's just say promo girl. I'll just put it there so you can go over there and see it. I'll repost it. But she just goes on and says a bunch of stuff. It's kind of, she just, in some ways, she's seen a lot of things that I hear that are good. I believe that life begins at conception. And if we have someone that's willing to fight for that, that is amazing. But there's a lot of stuff that people call her out on, and I'm not quite sure she's being truthful in everything she's saying here. So I'm moving on to the next item. And this is something that everybody deals with the Supreme Court. So basically, California, we passed Prop 50 so that they could redistrict. But Texas, somehow they had overturned it, but the Supreme Court stepped in and they paused a lower court's ruling on the Texas map. So this was another big story today that went on. And so as Justice Samuel Alito, he passed this lower court's order that struck down Texas' newly redrawn congressional map. And that lower court had ruled the map was racially discriminatory, potentially violating the 14th and 15th Amendments. But Texas had appealed that urgently, asking SCOTUS to reinstate the map ahead of the 2026 primaries. And the court gave them more time, meaning for now, this is going to stay in place. And so that was, a good victory for them. Now, I was going over to Truth Social and I was taking a look to see if President Trump had weighed in on the MTG thing, but I think he realizes I've, done enough here. And so in the next moment, we're just going to move right over to, President Trump and take a look at what he said when he did have Mandami in the office today. I didn't even have a chance to listen to it, really. I was just going to play some of this because I really want to see what happened. Because, he's a communist and he won New York as a mayor. And this has been a big, huge issue for a lot of people. And so let's see if we can turn this up and hear it. And if it doesn't play, because I have the sound off.
Incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat him easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built and food and prices. And the price of oil is coming way down. Anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart.
But here's the thing. When I was listening to President Trump and, he was basically calling out this person so much on his Truth Social posts, but now that he's apparently won, he's like really buddying up to him. And I was troubled by that a little bit. Let's just keep seeing.
Said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I will say there's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciate it.
Hey everybody, Peach here, and today we're going to take a look at the speediest.
Oops. We're going to skip this, go into that a little more.
And as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president. I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Okay, so there's that. And so that was interesting. I just thought that was something. And then just wanted to show a little bit of this because that was a surprise. And then we're going to go over to how Bill and Hillary Clinton, now they've been threatened with contempt of Congress as House expands the Jeffrey Epstein probe. So President Trump signed to have all the files released, but they have 30 days to, I guess, scrub all the names. I'm kidding. They have 30 days to get them out, to release it. And so House Oversight Committee Chairman, it's James Comer. So it's not, that I always get that confused when you say Comey, but it's James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, has ordered Bill and Hillary Clinton to appear for depositions next month for the panel's investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, or they are going to face possible contempt of Congress. So they've been subpoenaed, and they were subpoenaed back in August, and they're going to be answering questions about their relationship with Epstein. And with when I hung around Liz Crokin back in 2017, 2018, many of you saw our videos. I learned so much about this. And I realized that, this president here was a regular on the island, and so was she. I think she was reported going there 25, 26 times. And so I memorized that. I still remember all that. But the Clinton's attorney, in a November 3rd response, they had asked for his clients to make merely a written. So they're trying to get them out of this and just to write it up instead. So I don't quite know how this is going to go down, but we will basically see. It is precisely the fact that President Clinton and Secretary Clinton each maintain relationships with Mr. Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, in their personal capacities. As they're saying, this went back before they're saying before he was president. I didn't realize this part. So they're basically saying as private citizens. And so they're going to try to fight this. They're going to try to get them out of this. And I just wonder if they're going to show up. So basically, they've been ordered to appear for this deposition on December the 17th at 10 a.m., both of them. And they are going, one is Bill Clinton is first, and then Hillary is the next day and has to give her deposition. So they don't do it together. They do it on separate days. And so if they fail to show up, they'll be in defiance of these subpoenas. And so I wonder if they're going to do anything. It says unclear whether they would extend their personal capacities. Epstein's Madam Ghislaine Maxwell, they always call her. I'm glad they didn't say in this right up here, they didn't just say it was Epstein's girlfriend, because that is a true statement, more of a madam to the people that were trafficked, the victims, which they've made it clear those victims will not be disclosed in this release, and then within the next 30 days when they release the whole thing. Now Maxwell, we need to remember that she's still serving a prison sentence. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison for sex trafficking, and specifically for trafficking dozens of girls and by Epstein. And so they were both connected here. And after leaving the White House, Bill Clinton flew more than a dozen times on Epstein's private jet, later dubbed the Lolita Express. I used to not be able to talk about this. I get in trouble, but I see people talking about it all over, and it's just like, wow. They took me the whole channel down because I had the island and I'd showed it, and they scrubbed it. I don't even know if it's on my hard drive. I haven't really looked, but it's interesting to see all this being released now and being able to talk about it. So Hillary Clinton received donations for a Senate campaign from the financier before his run-ins with the law in the mid-2000s. That's just one of the things they're, saying there was an issue. And so it just on and on it goes. But, you know, the person that is on top of this subject is Liz Crokin, and she is on fire right now on X. I don't think she's back on YouTube. Someone I think has a fake account, but they did show some of her latest speaking. She's doing speaking engagements now. And I think she also posted for sure she's back on Instagram, and I was pretty amazed. I have to go over and find her. But if you really want to know and you're really interested in going in real deep and going into all the dirty details, you know, of this whole thing, you're going to have to check out at Liz Crokin, and she is on X. I know they're shadow banning her really badly right now because I'll go and I'll look some of the videos and I know what that feels like. She's really, really, this is her hour, we'll say, where she's really exposing all of that. And that's pretty phenomenal. So let's see if there's anything else. Because the Clintons, you know, for them, they're really in the news right now. And for them to testify under oath is risky politically. Any misstep could reignite past controversies, both for it's James Comey and his allies. And so they're trying to like get him. I saw that he was in the news and they were trying to let him go and not be convicted for anything and some of the stuff. So I was like, there's some dirty politics going on. But the Epstein investigation, they're releasing more of that. And so they want those two people out in the forefront. And right here, you know, right after Thanksgiving and right before Christmas, there's supposed to be an explosive, you know, deposition by them. And they're basically trying to force them to do it. So the question is can Congress really enforce these subpoenas and hold them in contempt if they don't comply? I don't really know how that would work. So they managed to get away with it all these years. It looks like they're in the hot seat right now. And I remember having to sign papers because I had called the 42nd president, which is Bill Clinton, a certain name, and on BBC News right before I was going to be interviewed. And immediately they faxed me over some papers that I had to sign and fax back, so that I wouldn't say that R word. It started with an R because it was back in 2016. It was really he was really being outed back then, but it kind of fell to nothing. But look at it now; it's all back. It's been like 9 years, and he's back in the news big time. But this isn't just about Epstein. It's about how Congress investigates these powerful figures, and whether congressional subpoenas are meaningful when they go after former presidents and first ladies. Because I remember President Trump calling her good and basically saying he didn't want a first lady to go to prison. So it looks like they're going about it this other way here instead, and so that it won't fall like on his shoulders. And so this is going to raise questions for voters. Do these accountability mechanisms work? And if they don't, what does that say about the power of the elite? So we really are in a battle in our nation like we have never been. And that's why I feel like God really has me focusing on these heavenly realms. And it's really interesting to get into, to understand what we've been told and what the firmament is and where God reigns, which is above the firmament, and how the battle goes on in these heavenly realms with Satan, and how people really are against God and they're in defiance, openly Satanists. I mean, they are serving the Lucifer. So there's so much depth to that, and such a battle going on. I don't know if you realize what we're really getting ready to come up against. So I think we should be in deep prayer and deep high praise so that we can combat this. This is like spiritual warfare. I was going to put on a camouflage jacket just to show like we're in such a fight, for our nation. But the question is, how will they take down these elites, and will they be able to? And is this really going to happen? So we're going to be watching these next days. I'm just days away to see how this really plays its way out. I think this is going to be showing a lot. Like it's going to really, people have a lot of questions, like is Trump part of that? Is he, really going against them? I don't know. We're going to really see a lot, right? I'm curious to see how this is going to go down. I think it's also dangerous. I think we might be seeing some false flags and stuff. I mean, I'm just taking a wild guess. Epstein Files Transparency Act. This passed recently by Congress, and this law requires the Department of Justice to release all unclassified Epstein-related documents. And like I said, this is going to protect the victims. So I'm not going to get into this because I do know about some of these victims, and some of them are no longer with us, but some of them are. But the Oversight Committee just isn't going after the Clintons. They've subpoenaed a slate of former Department of Justice and FBI officials, including former attorney generals and FBI directors. And we know who that is. I've been, bringing the name up, Comey. And they're trying to, in an effort to map out Epstein's network, they're really trying to expose who these people are. And they are really trying to bring this out into the open. That's why they need a lot of prayer. And so you can see that the court battle is really heating up between, with redistricting fights like Texas and out here in California, all the drama we have going on with their governor, and probes like the Epstein files. Several major legal battles are converging. And all these outcomes can reshape the political landscape. So I think on Marjorie Taylor Greene's departure, it could accelerate a shift in the Republican House, one less firebrand, but also one less loyal foot soldier for Trump, as she put it. And so I just wonder who they'll bring in. She was a big voice for, I think, MAGA. I don't know if she made us look worse at times or good. So it's kind of crazy. But so we'll just see. We'll see how things end. And so this is a pretty wild day in politics. So I was trying to get in here and break some of this for y'all. But let me know how you feel about all this. But anyway, thanks for hanging in there. And just kind of interested in seeing how this is going to play out. For the Clintons, really. It's going to be crazy. Anyway, God bless y'all, and God bless America. And keep our nation in prayer.